Welcome to Color Me Happy. My name is Brandy Hofer, your host. Thank you so much for your time and so much for being here today. We actually have a really great guest this week. My professional editor friend, Stephanie, who actually edited my book because I self-published. But what we really talk about in this episode is transitioning from a full-time position into a freelance position. Stephanie also coaches us on how to say no, but in a professional way, and how letting go of the 9 to 5 allows us more freedom and power in this season of parenthood. I wrote something that I'd like to share with you. It's on my blog, and if you like this, you'll probably like my book as well, because it's not in my book, but it's kind of my style of writing. What does it take to be a woman? Sometimes I don't want to think about it, because everything that is included in being a woman is, well, everything all at once. Yes, that is a movie title. I wander around my house mulling about, staring at the piles of toys scattered in each section of my home, ignoring the pull to gather it all up and put it away. I grab my half-eaten muffin off the counter and shove it into my mouth, chewing in contemplation that not only one but all 3 of my children had full-out meltdowns before getting out the door at 8:15 this morning. The haircut that my middle son won't dare step outside the house with, the first public haircut after our lives were flipped over and shaken out countless times for the last 3 years, the haircut where I chased my 6-year-old son around the salon and held him on my lap in the red salon chair after I captured him. The nervous sweat dripping down my arms, the smell of nervous invading my nostrils as my son thrashes around and yells at the top of his lungs. Teddy sits in the chair opposite, smiling and sucking on a lollipop, because he has played witness to this countless times in his tiny lifespan and floats through with an ease that I will never know. How did I think a haircut would feel normal to my son? He hasn't been there since he was 3. After all, I've been half-assed taming his mop for more than half his life. This hot-headed, stubborn, sweet child that holds the exact replicated temperament to me as a child. Why the fuck did I do this and think that it would work out? Too far gone now, move on. Some things are beyond our control. Embarrassment no longer holds power over me like it did before I had them. Here she is, labeled as mother and wife, knowing what she should do: tame the beasts, the ringleader to a never-ending circus, where the days amalgamate together, the days where she doesn't know if she'll be shoveling elephant shit, be attacked by the bear, or having her hand almost taken off by the lion. The audience yells at her to clean her home, make 3 delicious meals a day, have a career, teach these children, wear the perfect hair, have a round yet fit physique, have ravenous sex with her partner, attend all the things, take the kids to their countless events, wave and smile like everything is okay. It's not. Not always. There are days where she can meet these unattainable expectations. I blink my eyes coming back into my kitchen. Today is not that day. I chew on my muffin, look down at my leggings with holes with the paint, the leggings that I've worn since the birth of my first child, because nothing beats cotton. I throw my hood over my head of my oversized sweater, loving the comfort that it gives me. I slip on my moccasins and walk over the crumbs, because vacuuming seems like sweeping sand at the beach. I don't want to do it, all of it. Maybe tomorrow. Maybe my next book should be titled, I'm So Fucking Tired. So I was feeling all the feels, and thank you for listening. I appreciate that. And I totally threw that up on brandyhofer.ca on our blog and into our Weekend Inspiration newsletter. We'd love to hear from you. We have some exciting news, in fact, along with these last 2 episodes featuring writers, because it is a really powerful, expressive tool. We made a little workbook that you can have, and it takes you through just processing your life or writing in order to get and gain opportunities. That's what our last episode was about. Or just, taking in your everyday life and processing what's gone on. And it really, really is therapeutic, and it helps in so many ways that I can't really explain. It has been one of the greatest tools that I've ever experienced, and I'm sad I didn't try to utilize it sooner. But anyway, I made a little workbook, and it'll just get you started in that beautiful routine. All it takes is 10-15 minutes a day, and if you don't want to do it, you just don't do it. But great things come out of it, I promise. We also are releasing and launching our new mural course and a DIY, actually smaller mural class for interior murals, but artists looking to get into professional murals and expand their practice. That is coming soon. This is all in the newsletter, and I'm really excited. Tomorrow I'm hitting the road, and I have a new gallery that I'm meeting tomorrow, and I'm loading up pieces from the pandemic that never got to exhibit. And actually my Serena, who is like almost 8 feet by 5 feet, and she needs to be seen in public in a large space, and I'm so excited that she will finally get the spotlight shone on her. So enjoy this episode. What does it take to be a woman? The power in saying no, with Stephanie, who is so great and so much more organized than me. So you'll really enjoy this episode. Take care, my friends, and enjoy. I said that so many times. Enjoy it, okay? Okay, so I want to come back to that. You said you were very fortunate because you're able to make enough on the side to help support like things that come up in the house. This is one of the biggest questions that's always asked me as a studio artist who works from home, and it's finding that like balance between taking care of yourself, taking care of others, and finding time to work. Many people know my windows already of work time. What does that routine and balance look like for you?
I usually try to get up before my daughter gets up. So at least during the weeks when I have work to do, so that I can squeeze in some work time before she's up for the day. And my husband gets up pretty early for work. So I try to just get up when he does. And depending on how late she sleeps, I can get 2 hours in sometimes. And then again during nap time, although she's starting to transition out of naps now. So I really try to do the bulk of my work when she's asleep if I can. It's not always the case.
How old is she?
She's 2.5. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, she might drop her nap. Oh,
Yeah.
that sucks.
It's hard. I'm like not ready for it because
Yeah.
Also, it's taking her a long time to fall asleep now at night when she takes the nap. So that's a problem too.
Yeah. Like once you cut it and they go to bed at like 6:37, that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're in kind of an awkward transition phase right now. And because of that, there's times when I do have to work while she's awake, but she's pretty good about playing independently. We do some limited screen time. So if she's watching Winnie the Pooh or something, I'll try to squeeze in some work then as well. But yeah, the balance is really hard. I personally feel like there's always some area that's not going to get the full attention that it should, whether it's taking care of myself or keeping up, with the laundry, or so there's always something because I can't do it all. And I just have to be okay with that.
Yeah, that's true.
You can't do it all. So it's like, well, the laundry's not put away, but I need to go to bed. So I guess I'll worry about that tomorrow.
Exactly.
It's just, I really have had to work on that, like being okay with not having everything great. Cause it seems like, well, you're home all day. Like you should be able to take care of the laundry, or the dishes or whatever.
No.
It's like, well, yeah, I mean, that sounds great. I wish I could.
Yeah. I think being at work is easier than being at home for sure. And I just call it Laundry Mountain because it always
Oh,
is. It's like
yeah.
you walk past the mountain, and I did actually get to the point where we got cleaners to come in once a week because I'm not ashamed of it at all. I don't want to clean toilets,
Why
nor do
not?
I have time. It's super gross. I have 3 boys. So, and you said you had three younger brothers, so you know all about this, the pee
Yes.
and the grossness. Um, so disgusting. But that doesn't mean I don't clean. I clean all day, every day. And like, I have to clean the garage. We set up our garage as like an extra space with couches because it's a double garage. So if we need to park in -1,000 in the winter, we do on the one side. Or I set up the bouncy castle there because
Nice.
winter is long.
Yes.
Where do you live in the States?
We are in Northwest Washington. We actually live in a border town. We're about an hour from Vancouver, depending on the traffic and the border crossing. So yeah,
Okay.
in
So
the rainy Pacific Northwest. Yeah.
yes, very rainy, but milder. So
Oh yeah, we don't get the long, crazy winters, which
yeah,
I'm thankful for.
yeah. It's not, well, I lived on the coast once. I lived on the East Coast, so, and I can't do the clouds. I like the mildness of it, but like the constant gray is like not for me. I love open skies and sun. But I don't, same breath, don't love -47 with the wind chill.
Too
So
cold.
it's way too cold. But so we set up the garage for winter to kill their energy, and it
Yes.
gets like so disgusting that I have to the cleaners come and then I overhaul the garage while the cleaners clean the house, and I overhaul the apple cores and the popcorn and the gum stuck to places and just like wrappers thrown everywhere and toys. Oh, they're so gross. So gross.
Yeah.
So no, when I hire cleaners, it's like a necessity to life and getting through the season of what we're doing, because I wish they could clean up after themselves. Actually, they're getting better. Like they noticed I did that yesterday and I reorganized like where everything went. And I think it felt good to them too.
Right.
So there is some value to being like, I worked really hard on cleaning this. And if we can just like, if you appreciate it as much as I do, like I've seen my 8-year-old be like, oh, you guys are already messing up the living room. And he's like liking that feeling. So I'm like,
Yeah.
we can capitalize on this.
Yes. Yes.
But then then next week I have 3 speaking engagements and it'll all go down the toilet
And then
and
start over again.
start over again. It's just like that cycle of,
Yeah.
and or I get tired. Laundry Mountain gets tackled when I feel like I need alone time, and I literally shut the door now. I used to play hide and seek because I did it while they were at home, but they don't care about hide and seek anymore, so my trick doesn't work. And they kind of will, but I like put in my AirPods and watch something like binge worthy and go close the door and angrily fold laundry. There are ways to find windows and not go totally insane, I think. You can easily go insane too.
Totally. I just try to like if there's something that she can help with, even if it takes 3 times longer, I do that because then she's occupied and we're at least making some kind of progress. Like,
oh, for sure. For sure. And you're teaching them something. You're teaching them that, cleaning isn't the worst, even though it is.
It is important.
Yeah. But we all have to get through life cleaning. And if you can somehow make a connection, people forget about, everyone's like so caught up in like having their kids in all these things. And I'm like, what about the basic life skills?
Totally. Yeah.
What about cooking?
Yeah.
Like, how about that? You don't want them to move out of your home and just not be like, well, I guess I'm eating fast food because my mom's not cooking for me anymore. Yeah. Right? Like,
I'm amazed sometimes that I see people and like, you don't know how to cook. And I
Right.
feel bad. It's like, and I'm not judging them. I feel bad for them. It's like, that is an important skill to have. I mean, even just
Food
the
is a
basics.
solid joy of life. Like eating is like a joy. And if you can control like how good it is.
Yes. And how much salt is in it, things like that,
Yeah.
just to give yourself a better life.
Yeah. Yeah. I think and it's artistic and therapeutic and another form of creativity.
Yeah.
Okay, I want to talk about the first steps of self-publishing, and if someone's looking to explore. I had a mentorship session and she was talking to me about that, and I was like, she had like connections for publishers. I was like, I would after doing the self-publishing route, but I have an audience, so self-publishing was an okay journey for me, but it wasn't easy.
Yeah.
And if you have connections or a route to go through publishing when you don't have that like raw first audience, I would highly recommend trying to find a publisher. And I really wanted, like, I had such a strong voice, so and wanted creative control, and you really worked with me on that. So do you want to talk about the self-publishing route for people who are looking to get into that, not just with, but like with all sorts of genres in that area?
Yeah. I mean, self-publishing has erupted like so much. It's easy to do now. I say that I've never actually self-published a book myself. I just know there are so many resources available now. As far as like being able to even format the book and have it look good. It's just like anyone can do it, like if they want to. That said, though, if you want your book to actually have readers and make sales, I think you do really need to work with a professional editor at minimum to just get it ready for the world to see. And then
And distributed, right?
and to distribute it. It's like traditional publishing is easy in that they kind of handle everything for you. All you have to do is write the book, and work with your editor and, approve cover designs and things like that. But they handle all the marketing, the warehouse, the distribution, all that. You just you sit back afterwards, and that's it.
Well,
But
kind of, because they have to promote the book and go on like speaking tours. Some people, big
some
authors,
people
right?
do. Yes, which is the fun part, I think,
I
right?
don't know. Okay, I want to jump in a sec. I just met Dr. Jodi Carrington, and Jodi Carrington self-published her first two books,
Okay.
and then went through a publisher for her third, Feeling Seen, which I am looking forward to listening to, because her speaking was so good and funny. So I'm like, her book's going to be great. And she talks a lot about acknowledging people and stuff like that, and what we've just gone through in the world. But she seemed pretty tired, right? Because she's on this massive tour doing public speaking. I think she just lost a friend to cancer. I know she did, because she said it in her motivational thing. And I've worked in, my full-time job was theater. So I did hospitality and marketing, two jobs in one.
Yeah.
So I saw these people traveling and they were pretty pooped. Um, so, and so it is like there's always challenges, and you have to kind of outweigh the pros and cons with
Yeah.
self-publishing through KDP. Like it's not too bad, but your stuff's distributed just by like Amazon Prime.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. I mean, both sides, they have their pros and cons, just like anything. You do have to relinquish a lot more control if you go the traditional publishing route, which can be scary for some people.
Randy, you can't say shit and fuck as much as you do.
Depends on the publisher.
Yeah. We don't recommend it. We don't recommend a chapter titled Steaming Pile of Dog Shit. I would have never gotten away with the things I got away with. I don't think it depends, I guess, but
I think it depends, but that is one of the benefits of deciding to go your own route and working with an editor. who, and I think that's one of my like better skills as an editor, is being able to recognize and retain the author's voice. Like, you don't want to edit something and have it sound like I wrote it, you know? That's like, I'm not the author.
Yeah.
And that's something that's important to me as an editor, is keeping that like unique tone and voice that the author has and just making it flow better, you know, and avoiding redundancies and things like that. And you know, and like you said, that is one of the benefits of self-publishing, is you get to retain creative control. You don't have to accept the editor's changes or suggestions, if you really don't want to, although it's worth considering why they're suggesting something. But yeah, I mean, self-publishing is so accessible now, and there are a lot of really experienced editors who've worked in major publishing houses who are available for freelance. You know, they're making themselves available to indie authors. It's not cheap. Like, I think some people probably experience maybe sticker shock when they reach out to a professional editor, but I do think it's worth it. It's worth it to work with someone who has the experience and can really make your prose sound the best that it can, you know, and help you find your audience and make sure that your manuscript is written for your audience, so that when someone picks up your book, they see this book's for me, you know, and it's relevant to them. And yeah, that's definitely a benefit of self-publishing. I think you can choose the editor you want to work with, retain the creative control, manage the schedule. You know, if you decide, I think I need to add 3 more chapters, you know,
Yeah.
like, you're the one deciding the publication date. You don't
But
have
you also have to know yourself. Like,
well,
if
this
you
is
are
true.
not a self-motivated individual,
This is
self-publishing
true.
is not for you at all,
So
right? Like, I was very dedicated to finishing this project.
yeah. Yeah. And an editor can help with that too. Like, if you're kind of at the beginning stages of a book and you need someone to
Which I should have hired you right away. I didn't know. It was my first time.
you didn't know. Yeah. And it's yeah, I mean, an editor can help with that too. Be like, help you make a schedule, help you stick to your schedule. Of course, you still have to put in the work to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Because sometimes, like, when you look at the whole project, it's so daunting, you get paralyzed. You don't even know where to start. And so you don't start, and you just have your book idea and you've written five pages, and that's all you ever do. You know, editors can help with that kind of thing as well.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of help you
My biggest tip for that, overwhelm, and it can be like I avoided months of like, when I like finished it, but had to put it like kind of in some sort of order because they were just like mind dumps. And
yeah.
that was it. Like, after I would come home from a run, it was 15 minutes a day, mind dumps. And so then the whole part of like putting the puzzle pieces together for it to form a book and flow, like, it was really challenging to,
Yeah.
like, that was the hardest part. But but I think you need to show up daily, like, develop a routine, and then your body expects it and it becomes a habit. And it really only takes 10 days of showing up every day with like your tea, like, link a habit onto another habit of like, pour yourself a tea or a coffee, head downstairs at 5 a.m. or whatever time fits into your life. And when you feel that like magic flow, and if the magic flow is not there yet, it'll start happening. And I know this because I've adjusted mine to my children's nap schedules over the years, my creative time and my writing time. It has been in the evening, and then when they stop napping, and during nap times and stuff like that, and then when they like stop, sorry, I mixed that up. When they stop napping, it's in the evenings, but when they were napping, I had to adjust to the noon nap, so I would like not nap anymore too, because to get through life I had to nap at some points. So with the non-sleeping baby times, I would have to nap at noon. With the other small child. And
Right.
then I worked in the evenings. So I've changed my freaking routine numerous times. Although I've never been a morning person like you, like get up before them, I've never been able to pull that one off.
I think the only reason I do is because my husband has to get up. So I'm like, okay, he's up.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think I would do it by myself. And if I don't have work to do, I don't get up then.
Yeah. Yeah.
Only work projects that I need to work on. Yeah, I'm not a
Totally.
morning. That's just the time that I've had available to me.
Let's
But
talk about again the power of saying no, because I think I'm going to have to out the part that was jumpy
okay.
because it was so terrible.
It
Just
is
being honest with
yeah,
everyone. So Stephanie and I talked about the power of saying no and finding the right fit for your project. We're probably going to miss great things we said in the beginning, but it is there is so much power to finding the right partner for your project. And it is okay to say no, and even to reach out to several editors and see how they feel or feel them out and being like, okay, they don't sound like the right fit. And I had originally found Stephanie through Ekaterina Popova from the Art Queens because I wanted a female editor, just because it is such a, well, it's a book about momming and parenting. And when she said, I'm not sure, Stephanie just had a baby, and I was like, I'm going to ask her because that's perfect, actually. Right.
totally perfect. Yeah. Well, I know earlier when we discussed this, I had mentioned that at the point where I'm at in my freelance work, I definitely have had enough experience that I feel okay saying no to projects that are not something that I'm interested in working on. I definitely have genres that I prefer. I like the creative fields, and occasionally I'll get requests for things that are just more academic or technical, and I've done that in the past, and it's not that I can't do it. I really don't want to. Like, it's a different type of editing, and that's not how I spend most of my time. So I also don't think that I'm the best editor for those types of books or publications either. um so I'm in a place where I feel okay saying no if something comes up, that I'm not feeling good about, and I keep a little template folder in my Google Drive of nice ways to say no to a project. And for me, the first thing is always to celebrate with them that they've got this manuscript ready to work with an editor, because that's exciting. And I'm always honored that they considered me and reached out, to work on their book. And it's hard to hand your manuscript over to someone else to nitpick at, and I recognize that. So I always want to share in their excitement about their new project, and thank them for reaching out to me. And then I am honest in my reasons for turning a project down, but I have found nice ways to phrase it. So it's not I don't like the subject matter, even if that's actually what the case is. But sometimes it's a timing issue, if I have other projects that I'm working on, especially now that I'm a mom as well and I'm only freelancing part-time. I can't take on every project that comes my way usually. So I have these templates that I'll use when it's time to say no to someone. And then I always try to give them a direction to somewhere else where they could look, for an editor. If I know someone personally who would be a good fit, say, hey, you should reach out to this person. If not, I give them a resource where they can find other editors who would be a good fit. And you really do want the best editor for your book. I think it's always a good idea to reach out to more than one person, because you don't know any professional editor can do a good job, but you don't know who you're going to connect with, on a more personal level, because that affects your working relationship, and lets the editor kind of understand you better too, if you can kind of connect and have a good rapport. I think it's always a good idea to reach out to more than one person and kind of see who seems like the best fit for you as well. Because, like, the editor has to agree to take on your project, but you also want to choose the person that you want to work with as well. It kind of goes both ways.
Oh, for sure. And I think there's a season of life where you should say yes to a whole bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
Because unexpected great things happen, and you just never know where it'll take you, or the clientele you'll build from taking on a lot of projects. But that's when A, probably you don't have kids, and B, have more time. And so I think there's a maturity to your business, and it just comes with experience and years of, you
Really.
know, organically moving with those seasons of life. And so I actually, sorry, my mic. Yeah, so we always talk about how time is our most precious commodity, and to find those right partnerships and those right fits is integral to the success. If you're going to be pouring so much time and money
Yeah.
and into something and energy, this has to be like someone. Okay, my friend described this as, we were talking about our big mural project, and she's like, you have to find people that you can imagine yourself like hugging and crying with after, because this is a huge project. This is gigantic. It means so much to our community. It means so much to everyone involved. Who do you see joyously hugging after you've accomplished this huge journey? And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is the best advice I've ever gotten. Thank you. So that helped so much. That was Jessie. She's been on our on our podcast before. She said that to me. I think it was in the summer or last spring. And I did find those women, and now we're announcing it next week at the women's conference. And like, I am genuinely excited about every step of this project. No, it's not going to be easy. It's very challenging, but you have to involve those people in your life that you see like celebrating with you, because life is just too short for dealing with people you don't want to surround yourself with at all. Right?
It's true. Yeah. You got to find the right people, the right fit. Yeah. It's very important. So important.
They can push you beyond anything you even saw in a project too. Let's not, like, you don't know everything. You don't see everything. And partnering with people who see more and have, or maybe not have more experience in some other area, they can push you beyond what you ever expected. That's the really cool thing about that.
Definitely. It's so exciting. Those kinds of partnerships are so like uplifting, and I mean, they can be kind of life-changing, like you said, like opening your eyes to new things you might not have considered before. Definitely.
Mm-hmm. I actually remember wanting to do like a big mural, and I was trying to get grants and funding, and Carol Gray Eyes was like the grant lady you phone to see if you fit. And she's like, no, this was like so long ago. She's like, you're looking for murals, but you don't understand. She's like, there's help out there. And I didn't quite get it. Like, I just wasn't there yet. And thank goodness, because I didn't get any mural jobs. That's for sure. And she's like, you'll find it, and they can help you. And I was like, okay, sure, lady. And she was just right. And she's, of course, way wiser and older than myself at the time. I was in my like 20s and just a shithead, and not a shithead, still a nice person, but didn't know a lot about how things worked. And she did, and she was trying to help me out. So it's pretty cool how things have changed and evolved. But it's just, I can't, that's probably my best advice for finding those perfect partnerships. And, this is what I want to say, visualize it. Visualize these people, and how that's what Jessie's advice was really useful. She helped me visualize like what good partnerships look like.
Yeah.
And if you like create a mantra, or write it down or include it in your daily writing or morning pages. A lot of people do morning pages, and write down the people you want to work with and surround yourself with, and who you want to find in life. That could go for anything. The
Yeah.
partner you find to the job you want, seeing it happen and knowing that it won't go the way you see it, but seeing what it could be, I think is a really powerful tool.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah. I know there are times in life when, and I've been there too, like you do kind of have to just like take what comes. And there's been times when I've taken any project that came my way just because I was like, well, I need the money, or I need the experience. And I did anything and everything. And at the time, I think that was the right thing to do. Like you mentioned that earlier too. Sometimes you do kind of say yes to everything. One, you don't know what you might discover along the way about yourself, or maybe an aspect of the work you do that you didn't realize existed. But and then second, sometimes you just need the experience. And then the more experience you get, the more mature you become, in whatever it is that you're working on, the more you're able to identify, well, these are the things that I feel joy working on. These are the kinds of people that I like to work with. And then you can start to say no to some of those other things you maybe felt like you had to say yes to before. You can kind of like let those go.
Yeah, a maturity. That's a
Yeah.
great way to describe it. And that only comes with experience
Yeah.
and knowledge. And knowledge takes time. Takes time.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. And we're always learning, and it's a beautiful part of being a human. So in my custom artwork class that we just made, I actually have a segment on the power of saying no and different polite ways you can say no. And I included it in it because there was a season of my life where I did take on over 130 I created over 130 original artworks in 1 year, and it was insane. It was absolutely insane. But and I was burnt out, and I burnt out for a couple of years, which led to me writing a book instead of painting so much, which is okay. I'm fine with. However, I would never take it back because number one, I met so many people.
Oh gosh, yeah.
And like that built a beautiful collector base, which still comes back, and they've matured with me, and they see the value in how I can serve them and, painting their loved ones, and they trust me, and it's built these beautiful relationships. And that's the best part that came out of that experience, is the connection with other people. And so also the experience of finding out what I'm worth, and
Oh, yeah.
that there is a demand, so I can raise my prices, and having the confidence to do so.
Sure.
And then, of course, you get to the point where you find projects where you can recommend to other artists and help support other creatives in your community or circle or beyond, because there are other people starting out who would like those jobs, and finding those right perfect partnerships. So I do think you're right. It is an evolution of a career, right?
Definitely. Yeah. And you just mentioned another great thing too about realizing your worth. I think that's another huge part of that is it can be scary to like put it, hey, this is how much I'm going to charge you for this work. And you kind of wait and see what their response is, but if you're
And
not,
trust that it was meant for you.
yeah, if you need to ask for what you're worth. And when you're just starting out, it's appropriate to have maybe a lower rate. People don't know you. You're still getting the experience. Like, again, with the maturity and the experience, you have to ask for what you're worth. And the people who are worth working with will not have a problem paying you what you're worth for, the good or the whatever it is that you're offering to them. For me, it's editing, proofreading. For the artist, it's a work of art that they've put so much time and materials into. Like you can't shortchange yourself. you'll get burnt out, like you said, and it won't feel fulfilling. I think that's been a big thing for me the past couple of years, is trying to really focus on fewer and bigger projects rather than a bunch of small ones. That's just what has been working for me, and I kind of had to get over the sort of the fear or the nervousness of like giving out the rate. Like, I know how much is average for this type of work because it's my field. Like, this is what it costs to work with a professional editor. And if you the expertise that they have, like, this is what it costs. And finally got to the point where I was like, okay, like, this is, and if they don't want to pay that, they don't have to. They can try to go find someone else, on Fiverr or Upwork who's throwing things out for pennies.
I know, it's crazy.
You pay for.
It's a risk. Although I've met great people on Fiverr too. There are not great people on Fiverr.
Yes. Yes. No judgment for the Fivers.
You know what's funny about the creative field is, how much people, or how often people ask me what I get paid for stuff, like once a week.
Really?
It is like, do I go to my dentist and I'm like, what are you getting paid for this, man? Although like, right? But because you're paying it. But like, honestly, I just like at some point have to say, I'm going to have to come up with a good answer other than like just telling them, because I'm just an honest person and I'm like, oh yeah, blah, blah, blah. But really, actually, it's none of their fucking business, like why this is my fee. And it is on the low end fee of like what it is in the field. So just trust me. Like, I don't know what to say anymore, because it is often I get asked like, how long did that take? Why is it this much? And then you're like, well, material costs, time, like any other industry, like it is mind blowing. I should talk about this more, but like often I get asked like, why I get paid. People just want art for free so badly.
They do. I understand why they want the free art, and I can even.
We're not going to take it anymore.
Oh, why some people might not understand how inappropriate that is.
Yeah,
like artists, like that's their job. So
see me here.
There's materials,
I think it's because it's a fun job. Like, so people don't quite understand how your passion can be your job.
Yeah. Oh, which is sad for them.
Yeah, it is. And I think it's like so much joy pours out of like when I like, go and educate and work with kids, and like I'm like, this is so easy, I love it. And they're like, easy? Should you be paid for this then? It's like, yes, I should.
Fun.
Yeah, I'm like, easy in the way that art is like breathing for me, but that doesn't mean I shouldn't be paid because I'm enjoying myself so much, right? So I have to maybe create some boundaries. Learn. If anyone has advice for me, please reach out and message me. I'd love to hear it, or come on the podcast and talk about boundaries and how I can get better at that answer. Thank you, Stephanie. Is there anything you'd like to add for our listeners on that process of, working with you? Or
I mean, anyone who's listening who's interested in writing a book, it's a lot of work. As Brandy knows. But it's so rewarding too. And if it's something that you're feeling really strongly or passionately about, like, the hardest part is just getting started. If you just start it, you don't have to have a great outline to get started. You don't even have to be a good writer, although it helps. But if you can find the right, editor or editorial team even to help you, that's what editors are for. Like, they can take your idea and your words and turn it into something, that reads really smoothly and that will be able to reach out to whoever your intended audience is. I will say, one of the most important parts about getting started with a book is to know who you want your audience to be. That's a big, big thing. And it's going to save you a lot of time in the long run. If you can identify who your audience is, and it's not everyone. It will never be everyone. Like, there is a core audience for your book and your book idea. So identify who that is, and then you write directly to that audience. You may have other things you think, oh, this would be fun to include. If it's not really targeted towards your audience, save it for something else. And I think that would be my biggest piece of advice for just getting started, is to really identify who you want your audience to be, and then write your book for that audience. And that'll make your editor's job easier too. If you can tell them who your book is for, they shouldn't read your manuscript and be like, who are they writing this for? If you can really identify that target audience, that's going to make your writing job easier, and it's going to make your editor's job easier too, because they're going to have an understanding of who you're trying to reach, and they can help you tweak your words and organize things so that it's going to have maximum impact for that group of people that you want to read your book. That would be my
course. That is great advice. That is great advice. We can all say that, like, you're like, oh, it's a little self-help, but self-help is like the biggest industry for books, and like you'll just fall into the sponge of, like, it'll just and that's things I'm learning. That's things I have to learn as through self-publishing, like Amazon ads. And I have a coach who's helping me through it, Jeff Hilderman, because he self-published and he took a master class on it, and like figured and did all the work and watched all the videos. And so, like, even like I have keywords in self-help, and he's like, no, it has to be like really unique keywords and unique things. And it's like such a big process. So I think, your number one tip of finding who you're writing to, and even though I know, it's then the marketing part of marketing to that audience.
You really have to get like really clear and detailed on it. Like, I mean, I think it's even helpful to like create sort of imaginary people, like this is the person who's going to read my book, and like, what do they need? What are their problems? How can I help them solve their problems? Like, the more detailed you can get, the better. And like you said, there's so much out there that if you try to be too general or too, my book's for everyone or my book's for all artists, then you're going to disappear into the void.
Yeah, for sure.
There's so much out there. It really is best to get just like super clear and detailed on who you're trying to reach, right, for that group. Make sure that group of people can find you. Like, with words, you're saying, like, if they can't find you, then they're not going to read your book. It's a lot of work, but that's the kind of thing that pays off in the end, because your book is put into the hands of the right people. And then
it does take time.
Oh yeah, so much time. Yeah,
it's a long years of process. And now I'm just hearing feedback and seeing, who does like, or everyone's given like rave reviews, so no one's been mean yet. Thank goodness, because my skin is not thick. And it's because I already have that audience sitting there who are like artists, mothers, creative mothers. Like, that is who they are, and that's who reads it, and that's who's going to like it. That's who it's speaking to. That's
it for.
That's who I did it for. And so it's like, and or mothers, like, it's funny for mothers too who aren't in the creative industry. There's just a lot of, unfortunately, it's self-help, which is a big category, but like my friends who aren't artists who love the self-help part about it, right? So they see the value in that part. They don't care about I'm sure it's fine, but it doesn't resonate deeply with them. So there are different reviews from different types of women, and it's kind of cool. It's cool to see that process of how it can help other people and how they're connecting, because everyone will feel acknowledged in a different way. and feel seen through your words. And your voice is unique to you. So you want to find, just like we said, those right partnerships. You want to envision your reader and the right reader who's going to connect with you and be like, this, reach back out to you and be like, this helped me and it changed my life. And this is why. That's what you have to see. How is this going for other people? All right. I have taken up so much of your time, and thank you so much again for coming on. I appreciate it. Alrighty. Thank you so much for listening and taking the time to, work or whatever you do with us in your ears. Dishes, walking, whatever it is. Thanks for popping us in your ears. We sure do appreciate your time. And we hope you had a good time and you felt like included in this. That's the whole point. To have it unfiltered and just approachable, like you're hanging out with friends, because we're friends. Let us know what you think. You can join our free Color Me Happy community anytime and share whatever you're working on or creating or writing. It's for whoever needs support or to share. Join our newsletter, brandyhofer.ca. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy, and we will just send you weekend inspiration along with our feature members, and that's from our community. So that's who we have on the podcast, is members of our Color Me Happy community, and it's been a great journey so far, and there's just some incredible people that we've met along the way in there, and we couldn't ask for anything more. Thank you to our wonderful female-owned businesses and supporters of this podcast, our partners. That is Nouveau Laser and Aesthetic Center, and they always give us a myth and a fact about skincare. Hyperpigmentation, I said it right, is permanent. That's the myth. Fact, with the right at-home products and treatments, you can break down almost any pigmentation so that it's virtually unnoticeable. Prevention is key. Using daily SPF and wearing hats, sunglasses when you're going to be in direct sunlight will help keep your skin healthy and less likely to get sun damage. Okay, so I know that this is true. I actually, Vanessa got some big sun, I grew up in the generation of just burning. I don't burn easily either. And just crisping your body in the sun from when I was 9 to 30. And then you're like, oh, it turns out everything starts happening after and nothing regenerates after that. Anyway, they can treat hyperpigmentation, and it works. And I actually really love the SPF, which I never wore before. And it has a tint, I think it's called tinted SPF, and it matches my face color, and I use it actually as a cover up, and it goes on in only 30 seconds, and then I just leave, and that's how great it is. It's my favorite. It's called Color Science. So that's true. Red Bicycle Communications, our very first partner and supporter of the show, and of course our favorite place to unwind and relax, Oasis Hot Yoga and Spin Studio. So those are all local, and they're wonderful, supportive businesses of our community, and I'm so proud that they are our partners. I hope you all are well again, and if you're in Canada, winter, I promise, will be over soon. I hope. I'm putting it out there that we can just move forward happily and sunnily into spring, and it'll be so great. I'm looking forward to that because I have 3 boys in my home, and they have so much energy, and I love them, right? Okay, take care. Oh, why can't I ever say goodbye? I just like you so much that I just want to keep chatting. This is like every conversation I have with every human being. Alrighty, take care. If you're looking for some time for yourself to relax, release, and unwind, Oasis has the perfect space for you. They offer yoga and spin classes of all levels, Whether you are a beginner or advanced student, Oasis thrives on accommodating all aspects of the practice. Let their serene environment and gracious staff help you in your journey of peace, healing, and strength. Sign up online at www.oasishotyogastudio.com or by downloading the Oasis Hot Yoga Studio app. Feel like yourself. You deserve it.